Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unanswered Questions. Sometimes we get so many questions in our live broadcast.
Inundated.
Sometimes we don't have enough time to answer all the questions.
No.
So we're going to answer some of the top upvoted questions from students in last month's.
I love this segment. I just absolutely
questions.
love this one, right? Because we get, like you say, we're just inundated with the how you've integrated Q&A into our live presentations is being brilliant, right? Like we've seen way more questions being asked by students than we ever did when we were doing in-person presentations, because students would be afraid to ask questions in front of their peers for peer embarrassment. So using this platform is just been awesome, right?
So let's do some questions.
Sure.
First question is opinion on omegle.
Danger, 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 right? Like we've been talking about omegle, and there's others out there like Emerald, and now Bigo is another good one. These streaming face-to-face. I mean, we just find that a lot of bad things happen there, especially when it comes to things like sextortion and predation, exploitation. So on these streaming apps like omegle and Bigo and Emerald and the Monkey, you just got to be really careful, because sometimes, we talk about this in some of the other presentations that, some of these online predators and exploiters are now using technology that allows cameras that change their looks real time so that they actually look like they're 16. So you think you're talking to somebody who's 16 when in fact they could be 55 years old from Russia, right? So it's just danger.
Yeah. The question is, is the app you're using, does it have any actual beneficial service that's giving you?
And omegle's been around a long time, right? But it became very popular again last year because of TikTok, right? So.
Question: what do you think of having friends that are years older than you? Is that all right in your opinion?
Yeah,
it can be.
It can be, right?
I mean, if the person's doing something is wrong or not right, then it doesn't matter how old they are.
That's right. It's context, right? Yeah. And what's interesting about the internet is the internet and social media has changed the definition of friend. Like I still get a lot of adults saying to kids, "Oh, that's not your internet friend." Well, you know what? The internet, and like especially gaming communities now, is about community, right? Mm-hmm. It's totally changed.
But would people consider like pen pals like years and years ago as friends? Potentially. So
yeah. And it's funny you say that, because I now remember when I was in elementary school that we were being pen pals with seniors who were adults elsewhere in Canada, right? So, I mean, that just came to mind. Yeah, you're right.
What's your personal opinion about Snapchat?
If Barack Obama can have Snapchat, if White Hatter can have Snapchat, it's not the app, it's how people use the app that is really important. Like, I think Snapchat is kind of cool, right?
If you're using the app inappropriately, then it's probably not
cool.
good.
Yeah.
If you're using it totally fine as a normal communications app, then it's totally good.
Right. I just remember to the teens and the adults that are watching me that just because it disappears off of Snapchat doesn't mean it's gone, right?
True.
Like, so never ever forget that rule.
For future reference, what can I do if someone is pretending to be someone being a friend or a bully of mine?
Yeah, the frenemy is a really good example, right? Where you think they're a friend, but really they're an enemy, i.e. that's where the frenemy thing comes into play. So, if they're truly your friend, then they would respect your decisions. If they're not, and they're your frenemy, so drop them like a bad habit, block, delete.
Yep. What is your favorite sticker on your computer?
Mine is the boomer one that you
Yeah,
gave.
you have OK Boomer on yours.
I have OK Boomer.
What do I have in mine? That's a good question. I got a bunch of stickers on mine. I got where I went to university from undergrad. That one's kind of cool. Clippy's fun.
Yeah, Clippy.
The old
Clippy.
Old-fashioned Microsoft Clippy.
Yeah, Microsoft,
Yeah. What's your opinions on Twitch?
That's in your wheelhouse.
It's totally fine. I mean, it's like YouTube. It's just live content. If you're watching something inappropriately live, then it's probably not good. If it's just normal live content, then it's probably fine.
Right. Yeah. It's not the app. It's not the network. It's how people use it.
Yep.
Is there a time limit to when you can expose people for repeatedly asking for nudes or sending one without consent? No, there is no time limit on that, right? There is no statute of limitations, as a lot of people call it. So the answer is no.
Does private mode work? Like private browsing? It works in, I think, half the way you might be using it. So private browsing doesn't save data locally, saved on your computer or phone, but it doesn't stop the websites you're using from collecting your data.
Right, a private screen, right, or the incognito mode. All it does is it prevents the history on your device from knowing where you're going, but your internet service provider is collecting all that information. So just because you're using it, don't think that what you're doing is private.
Is there a way to get your account back when you get hacked, especially in Instagram?
In most cases, yes.
It depends. I mean, Typically, it's just requesting a password reset, and then you get reset a password. The challenge is if someone has your email account, then there's a problem.
Right.
So,
and the other thing too to remember is Instagram, or Meta, who owns Instagram and Facebook, they rebranded. They get thousands of those requests. So because teens are they want things now, they want it immediately, that sometimes it can take days or weeks.
Could take months even.
Yeah, to get your account back, right?
and there's no guarantee.
No, there is no guarantee.
But normally, if you have good passwords and security on your emails, you can recover.
Yep.
It's a problem if a student has like many emails that they lose track of, can't remember your email for your one-off account, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
If you send nudes to a person in a country with different child pornography laws, how is the legality of the situation determined?
And the country in which you're sending it to. So, if you're sending it to, say, a person in the U.S., in a state in the U.S., if they have child pornography, also, although it may be legal here, like two consenting teens under the age of 18, private consensual relationship, non-exploitive in nature. Here in Canada, not illegal. However, if you send that same picture to somebody, say, in Texas, is a good example, is that state, it would be considered child pornography, and therefore you're breaking the law. Now, are they going to extradite you to Texas? Probably not. But, gaming this out in worst case scenario, Texas could all of a sudden say, oh, illegal, put out a warrant. So next time you cross in the United States, U.S. Border Patrol does a check on your name. Boop, there's a warrant for you in Texas, right? Now, the likelihood of that happening, almost zero. However, you never know. So it depends upon where you're sending it to.
What if they're asking for the person who received it?
What if
a hacker convinces a person to send a nude image? The hacker lives in a country that has no treaty agreement, and they have a nude image, and let's say that country is lenient on child pornography.
Yeah, or say it's in a country where there just is no enforcement. A good example: Nigeria, Somalia, Southeast Asia, Russia. I mean, it's hard to hold those people accountable legally, right?
So that then is a problem in of itself. Yeah.
Hopefully we answer that question.
I think we answered in both degrees. How bathing suits considered partial nudes?
Go for it, dude.
Well, that's just research. Partial nudes, that's a huge debate right now in research. But you got your full nude images, which you have genitalia showing, and then you have semi-nudes, which most research calls it, which is basically bathing suits or underwear pictures.
Right.
It's just another word for, it's not completely nude. It's just halfway there.
So a really good example. Let's say you're a person who identifies as female. You're wearing a bikini and you zoom in on your crotch wearing the bikini. Could that be considered a nude? The answer is maybe.
Context is dependent.
Yeah, right. Context, right?
Yeah.
So again, so many people think that the law is black and white. It's all shades of gray. Right?
How dangerous is the dark web?
It's the largest part of the internet. But it's like anything else. It's not as safe. Are there some cool things that happen down in it's called the deep web. A smaller component of that is the dark web. The dark web is a place in which if you're not taking proper precautions on your computer, just by going to certain sites on the dark net, you could infect your computer, right? So you got to make sure that you're protecting yourself. So it can be dangerous, right?
Yeah, but for some people who might be living in oppressive government regimes, maybe the dark web's technically safer for them.
Right.
Because speaking their mind in their government internet might put them in danger.
Right.
So context is dependent there.
Yeah.
Is it legal for me to screenshot an unsolicited nude photo to send to law enforcement?
As long as you immediately provide it to law enforcement as evidence, the answer is no. However, if you keep it on your phone just as potentially using it down the road without immediately forwarding it to law enforcement, the answer is probably.
What is the legality for those Snapchat scams where you get sent nudes for no reason?
Yeah, if somebody's sending you a nude unsolicited, is it illegal? Yes, it is. But, usually what happens is you have to prove it a second time. So that's why we created that tool where it says, no, I don't consent to you sending me images. Because if somebody sends you an unsolicited nude on Snapchat or any other platform, then you send this back. And if they send you a second one, then you've got a data trail to show that it did come from them. And number two, that they didn't take no as one is a complete sentence. And as a result of that, they could be charged under the criminal code for unsolicited messaging, right?
Yep. It'll depend on the laws of where you live.
Yeah.
Are employers allowed to fire you if they find a nude of their employee online on social media? Ooh, that is a question.
Yeah, probably not. Now, if it's a legal nude, like I'm thinking somebody over the age of 18. So are employees allowed to fire you if they find a nude of
That
them?
is a hot topic right now that's being debated every day.
You know, what's interesting is my gut says if it's somebody over the age of 18, so it was a legal nude, but it was posted online with consent and that kind of stuff, and an employer comes across that, could they now fire you because of that? You know, again, I think it's going to come down to it depends. Because, you know, what if it's a teacher whose nude has become public, even though it was a legal nude, and it now affects the workplace environment? So there's the nexus. You know, could there be discipline handed out? Well, the answer is yeah, there could be. And in fact, we know some cases where that has happened, right?
Yeah. And again, the rationale for the courts were if it has a nexus. Or it relates to a negative impact in the workplace environment.
Yeah, and the community as a whole. So for teachers, I could see the answer would be probably.
But if you're just a grocery clerk,
probably not.
That's a good question. I think that would come down to the court decisions, but I wouldn't see how that would necessarily negatively impact the work environment.
That's the issue, right? Like I think if it's a teacher where you're dealing with kids and now this thing is spreading, and there's going to be an issue there, right? So, I mean, that happened with a teacher in Abbotsford, right? A couple of years ago where on a vacation, nudes consensually shared, went public. And as a result of that, they were disciplined and they appealed it and they lost.
But was it, but if it was a nude of someone who they said consensually, should they be held responsible?
I think it all comes down to the position you're in. You know, are you in a position of trust, working with kids, and that's what happened in that case, right? So,
very good question. Very good question.
Yeah, it is good. It's not black and white, right? Like,
what should I do if my friend has been bullied for their sexuality?
Report it. It's illegal.
Yeah, depending on where you live. There are laws in various provinces and states that say you cannot target somebody for their race, religion, sexuality.
Human rights as well, right? So, yeah.
Is bullying illegal?
It
depends. I think the problem is a lot of people use word bullying to mean all kinds of different things. Yeah. If someone's just being a little bit mean and rude to you, well then...
Yeah, if it's rude, mean, or disturbing behavior, is it illegal? No, right? But and again, I think you're right, Brandon. Like, I mean, I think we were one of the first groups to say, listen, there's a difference between drama, rude, mean, or disturbing behavior, and bullying type, which is actually criminal. That's why we don't like using the term bullying. We like to use the term pure aggression. Right?
Yeah, if it's harassment, intimidation, things like that, illegal. Well, then it's illegal, right? Yeah.
But if a good example is, I remember one teacher coming up to me and saying, you know, my student came up and said, Darren's burping in my face, he's bullying me. That's not bullying. That's rude, mean, or disturbing behavior. It's not bullying behavior.
Bullying is a word that gets changed in definition so often. It really has no legitimate real...
Yeah, it kind of becomes disempowered, right? Because everybody takes all behavior and puts it into this thing called bullying. So it becomes disempowered, right? Yeah. So we got to be careful. That's why we draw a clear separation between peer aggression or digital peer aggression and rude, mean, or disturbing behavior.
Yeah, it's one of the problems with policies I see is say no bullying. But they don't explain what that means.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's a problem. Yeah. What do I do if I share a space with someone who has bullied me or is bullying me in school?
Report it.
Yeah. If they're actively bullying you, then yeah, you copy what they're doing, save it, and report it.
Now, I can say here in the province of British Columbia, we have the erase bullying tool where you can report it to erase bullying. And that's not necessarily true across the country. There's some other school districts that have adopted the erase reporting tool in their states, but, you know, are both, in the U.S. as well as here in Canada. But I think reporting it is important. But you know what I hear from teens consistently? They report it to the adult and the adult does nothing, right? And that's where we're dropping the ball. Like I keep saying to schools and teachers, like, no matter who the student is, if they come forward to let you know they're being targeted, act on it.
Yeah, and that's where we get students we actually get them to like record the evidence. Because oftentimes we have students who just offhand say, this person's targeting me, this person did this to me. But if you back it up with physical photo evidence, and now that person is not fulfilling their job, they can be liable to not acting upon it. Yeah. But if you're just saying something, the trail of proof is kind of hard to kind of grasp.
Yeah. No, I agree. Mm-hmm. What if I sent a nude already? Now, from a Canadian perspective, it's like we say in the presentation, Supreme Court says consent can be withdrawn at any time. So if you've already sent the nude, there's nothing to stop you in Canada from approaching the person who you sent it to and saying you need to delete it. And if they fail to delete it, if you're under the age of 18, then that person's in possession of child pornography, right? Yeah. Now, that's not the same in U.S. And what's interesting about the U.S. is depending upon the state, because every state has their own law specific to it. So what's illegal in Washington may not be in Texas or New York. It differs, right?
Yeah.
Where in Canada, we have one federal law that applies across the country.
Makes things a little bit easier here.
For sure.
What if I have a consensual nude on my previous phone that can that be dangerous if I don't have access to them?
If I have consensual nudes on a previous phone,
Okay.
can that be dangerous if I don't have access to them?
So, previous phone, new phone. You don't have access to the old phone? Like the old phone you don't have access to?
Smash it.
Yeah.
Smash it.
Yeah.
Right? Smash it. Like just take a sledgehammer and just smash the phone up.
But what if they're saying they don't have access to the phone? Like the phone is in their closet somewhere, they can't find it, or maybe... Is that what they're asking?
I don't know.
I'm assuming they're asking they don't have access to the old... So there's an old device that has something on there they want no one else to see.
Yeah.
But they no longer have access to that device.
Well, then you don't have access to it, so how can you get rid of it? Now the question is could you be held accountable for it? I guess context, again, is going to be specific.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, context is going to be everything in that one. But if you do have an old device and you still have access to it, but you can't access the device to delete the nudes, smash it.
Hulk
right?
smash.
Hulk smash.
Which is actually a kind of fun thing to do anyway.
You know, I know some other people. I don't want you to do this with your home microwave. Don't do it. But I know some other people, what they'll do is they'll just throw it in a microwave and turn it on for about 30 seconds and nuke the phone. Right? But don't do it with your home microwave. Don't do it. Don't do it. Right? Anyways, but Hulk smash it would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay to ask for explicit messages as a joke?
No.
The problem is, if that comes public, you could be in serious trouble.
Yeah.
Potentially legally or socially in regards to job opportunities.
Yeah. Like, no. It's different if it's with consensually, right? Like if you're doing with somebody consensually, well, then that's different. But if you put the inquiry out there and the person says no, well, then if you do it again, you're in trouble, right? So
What can you do if someone sends you nudes, but you don't want them? Well, you
block, delete, and let them know that don't send them again, right?
Yep.
That's the tool that we have. That no, I do not consent to you sending me intimate images.
How often do you have to be targeted for it to count as bullying? How many times does it have to happen for it to count?
Once. Now, what's interesting...
Depends on what you define as bullying.
Yeah. Again, getting down that definition. It just has to happen once. I mean, it's like if you're going to get arrested for assault, you just have to be hit once. It's not as if you have to take multiple hits to charge the other person. But there's no doubt people who appear aggressive will do it over a length of time. So getting multiple pieces of evidence is always best, right? Yep. Because, again, it proves further intent. So, but just once.
If someone threatens to get my IP and DDoS me, is that a federal crime? It will depend on where you live, but I believe in most places in the U.S. and Canada, uttering a threat in such a way would be a crime.
Yep.
Here in Canada, definitely. U.S., it will depend on states, but I'm pretty sure most states have such laws.
That's called uttering a threat in Canada. Depending, again, context is everything. So
now, if someone just has your IP address, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's if they're making threats about it, then there's a problem.
Right. Now, what's interesting, yeah, for sure. You nailed it.
What have you found in possession of your own nudes taken before age of 18?
If they are own self-produced nudes on your device, the courts have said not illegal. They're
here
yours.
In Canada.
Yeah, here
Again,
in Canada,
it will depend on where you live. If you're in the United States, not every state.
Depending upon the state, right? But here in Canada, if it's your own nude that you took a picture of and it's on your device, then not illegal.
Yeah. Problem is, you have your own nude. Maybe now you're 18, 19. You travel across the border into a state that has more strict child pornography laws.
Right.
Could you get in trouble for that?
Yeah. Probably.
Potentially.
We talk about that in the presentation, right? Well, although it's legal in Canada, once you travel into the U.S. through border, U.S. border federal law applies. And if it's a picture of somebody's genitalia and they're under the age of 18, illegal.
Yep.
Right, illegal.
Do games sell private info? If so, what kind of information? They do. Definitely more so free games and paid ones, but even paid games do collect information, and they can sell that if they deem it so and if it's in their policies.
What kind of information? Names, addresses, phone numbers, location, hours on. Just a ton of metadata that they collect, right?
Yep. My notes app deleted all my notes and passwords with the new update. Is there a way I can get it back? I forgot the password info. Depends. It depends on the app. I know there are some recovery apps out there for phones, but it may not be able to get everything. So there is no easy way to do that. You're going to have to use a proper, probably paid for, if not contract out to a recovery data service. But even then, there's no guarantee.
No. Is it dangerous to share my information with an online friend? Again, depends, right? Like, you know, you got to be careful because you don't know who's on the other side of that internet cable, right? So, you know, sharing a first name, yeah, but you got to be careful about sharing what we call the tombstone information. You know, your first, your last name, your date of birth, your addresses, your phone number, you know, social share, all that private information. You don't want to be sharing that online with people who you don't really know. Now, it's totally different if somebody you met online, you're forming a relationship, a friendship with them, you're now doing lots of Zooms together or face-to-faces, you know who the person is. But even then, you know, why does somebody need to know potentially what some specific personal information of yours is? They don't. So just be careful.
Yeah. Next one is, when I search myself, a bunch of weird pictures show up, but they aren't me and aren't from any of my accounts. They're from someone else's account with a similar username. Can I potentially face issues due to this?
Well, the answer is only if they can associate the pictures to your account. Because, again, you'd be amazed at how many people will say to us, oh, that's not me, it's somebody else. And then we do the research and know it was them using a fake account, right? So, but if it's not you, then no, you don't have to worry about it. There are investigative techniques that will help people to find out if it was you. In fact, this is another reason why we emphasize from leveraging social media to your advantage, that when you want to squad in as many accounts as you can on all these major platforms so you own them, and then also associate your picture to the account so people know that it's you. So a good example, there's another Brandon Lohr in the world, right? He's a financial consultant. Well, you know, one of the things that you do is that when you Google, you'll see the other person. You can see it's not you, it's the other person, right? So
can people see the content you like or watch? It will depend on the app you are using. Some apps do allow your accounts to share with other people the things you've liked and followed. So it does depend on the social network you are using.
Yeah, or the browser, right? Google sees all, right?
Yeah, talking about internet providers and search engines, difference, but for average, normal, everyday people,
Google is like, you know, on the American dollar bill where they have the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. Google is the all-seeing eye right now.
Yeah. Can all Instagram accounts I made be found by organizations, even if I don't link them to my profile? It depends. It depends on...
We've done that as investigators.
Yeah, it's doable. It can be difficult, but it depends.
Yeah. Just because somebody has a Finsta account doesn't mean, you know, and they don't associate it. There's still ways to connect the two.
Can private conversations or DMs be used or found by anyone if nobody in the conversation screenshots it? Well, potentially. I mean, if it's still saved in the message in the app, then someone doesn't have to screenshot it. They can just show the live message stream.
But the answer to that, I think, is mostly no.
Yeah, mostly no. Now, the network you are using, you're communicating on, if they have an unencrypted backup of the files and the conversations, the company might.
Which means that if law enforcement has to do a warrant,
the government then might.
The man will, right? In a lot of cases, depending upon the app you're using.
If I'm part of a community and I post jokes about my own community, will that look like I'm bigoted or to a potential employer, even though with context it's at my own expense?
The answer is yes.
It really does depend. I mean, self-deprecation and humor, it very much depends.
Right. It
depends on the job, the employer.
Yeah, it does. That's one of the reasons why I say, you know, just stay away from it. Because again, you can't read context into what it is you're reading online. So
is there a way to prevent yourself from getting photoshopped on nude photos?
Yes, there is. And one of the ways to do it is to slightly blur your picture. Because when you Photoshop it and slightly blur it, you will see there's a difference. That's the easiest way to do it. Just put a slight blur in there as one of the easiest ways to do that.
Yeah, or if you're adding other types of filters on your photos.
Right.
The person would have to correct the photo to make that filter work. Yeah. So there are ways, but I guess proper photoshopping could work around it potentially. Sharpening, AI fixing tools as well to remove the blur. it depends.
Right. But that's, we talk about that in our presentation on sexting issues that, we were at one school where there's a group of those who identify as male were taking screen capturing faces of the girls at their school and photoshopping it on nudes that they screen scraped online and posting online as a weapon, thinking it was funny. And those young men were arrested for defamatory libel. Right. So
how do you stop someone from harassing you online? Well, the easiest way is to sever communications. So you block, remove, and delete. Depending on the extent of harassment, they could potentially fall under, if you're using harassing in the legal terms and the breaking of law. I mean, there could be police intervention as well, legal intervention, court intervention there as well. Easiest way is to just sever the connection.
Right.
But not a lot of people do that.
No, they don't. Human nature is such stop talking to me. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Well, by you just sending that message, you're letting them know that you still want to talk to them, right? So just block, delete.
Are online relationships worse than relationships with someone in your town or city? You're talking about romantic relationships or like platonic friendship relationships?
I think in both cases, the answer is no. All right. Like it is amazing to see how online relationships are now leading to long-term relationships or leading to people getting married, right? And spending the rest of their life together. So, the internet has changed. When I first became aware, when I was, in high school and we had computer programming courses, it was just you and the computer, right? And today it's more about interacting as a community.
Yep. Selling feet pics at age 14 illegal.
I just wrote an article on this, right? That we posted. So go ahead and answer that one, Brandon.
Well, the easiest answer is no, but there are a lot of asterisks there with it. The image itself may not be. Now, if it's a tie to other sexual activity, it could be a part of the totality of the activity being sold. Now, it could be illegal if you're not claiming your taxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can speak to Canada. The U.S., again, state to state, it could differ a little bit depending upon their definitions, right? But here in Canada, it's not illegal for a teen to sell feet pictures. However, if they're hyper sexualized, it could be. Now, it's illegal for somebody to ask you for feet pictures in a hypersexualized way. They can be charged. But the person who's actually taking them, the 14-year-old said, not. But here's what a lot of teens don't know, is that if you're making money or receiving gifts, right, from anything you're doing, then Taxman wants his skinny out of this, right? Like he wants his part. And, teens, if you're making money off of selling things online, then you're responsible as a teen to still, you have to do taxes, right?
Yeah, any content creation, streaming, making YouTube videos, you're making ad revenue. Can't claim that on your taxes.
And if you don't, you could be in huge trouble. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I would rather have the police coming for me than the tax man, right? Like, because the tax man, like at 14, and I know some teens, like we wrote about it in the article that's on our website, that are making a couple $100 like a week doing this. So when you add that out over a full year, they're making some good cash.
Yeah, you're looking at what the tax rate is between, well, if you're making a lot of money, you're probably being taxed that between 25-30%,
and interest is attached to that over time. Right? So again, and people go, well, nobody will ever tell. Well, that's why Revenue Canada, speaking of Canada, have a tip line, right?
Well, PayPal has made clear, PayPal has an agreement with the government because they sued them basically, that's saying PayPal, anyone who makes money over a certain amount, PayPal discloses that to the government of Canada.
There you go.
So if you get paid through PayPal, which many online content creation services are paid out through PayPal, PayPal does report to the government. Yeah. So things to consider. What's the best kind of computer to buy?
Apple.
Oh, of course you say that. It depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, it depends on
if you want something
simple. I have to get that in quickly.
If you want to do gaming, then you're probably looking at PC. If you're looking at streaming, like what we do, we use PC. PC is a lot more customizability, but can create more problems.
Yeah, for sure.
So it depends. But yeah, for everyday use, we are kind of Apple fans. What's the best way to get noticed by universities for sports?
Just dedicating to the sport and promoting that into your social media. That's what we talk about in the leveraging social media for college, university, sport, and employment opportunities, right? You need to be your best ally. You need to brand yourself. And one of the ways you can do that is by using social media to do that.
Recently, my Instagram got deleted for breaking guidelines, but it never told me why. And it hasn't posted or commented in months. Well, unfortunately, when you sign up for services, they have overarching control over anything you do. They can delete your account for any purpose they deem necessary. That's basically kind of written in their rules. So they don't even have to tell you why.
No.
So they're not a government agency. They're their own private company, and
they can do what they want.
They can do what they want.
If you don't show your face in the photos that are posted, are they able to use that against you? Yeah, they still can. I mean, it reduces harm for sure because it makes it harder for them to say it's you. But yeah, they still could be.
Does clearing cookies help in regards to online tracking? Yeah, it does.
I just cleared all the raisin chocolate chip cookies Mom made the other day.
Yeah, raisins. Yeah.
I know. It was good for me.
So online cookies, which your computer keeps little data trails of places you go. Websites put cookie codes in your computer, which can track where you go. Deleting that from your browser helps to remove the tracking. So yes.
But however, cookies also make it easier for you to go to these sites quickly too, right? So again, it depends.
Sometimes cookies are necessary for sites to work.
Yeah.
So depends. How many investigations have you done?
Lots. I don't think we keep track of that. We don't keep track of that, but lots.
If I unsend an image, can it still be tracked? So I sent you a picture on like Messenger and I go unsend, so it deletes from your phone and from my phone.
Yeah, can
it still be tracked?
Yes.
Well, it can. I mean, if someone screenshots before you unsend it.
There's still a data trail.
Or there's a data trail in the servers.
Yeah, there's still a data trail.
When our information is being sold, who is buying it? Anyone and anyone who wants it.
Primarily, it's being sold to third-party vendors who want to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Marketers. That's who it's being sold to.
Anyone can buy it. I mean, just watch John Oliver's little take on buying data from data brokers.
Yeah.
That was a good episode.
It was really good, actually. But the answer is primarily third-party vendors who want to sell you stuff. That's why they're buying it, because now they can use that to sell you stuff, right?
Yeah. Or hold ransom to U.S. Congress people.
Yeah, that too.
I wonder when they're going to release that data.
I don't know.
I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the follow-up for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your computer's setup and specs? Here in the studio, so we have Ryzen 9, only a 1660, 62 gigabytes of RAM. Those are like the primary specs that we use.
That's all I know is that when I go into your office and have a look at the computer, it looks like a mini nuclear plant.
Right. So we do have like 6 screens in there and whatnot.
It's just unbelievable, right? It looks like a nuclear plant. I mean, your box, your PC is glowing. It's like,
there's some RGB lights in there.
Radioactive? Like, what's going on with
RGB
this thing,
lights.
right? Yeah.
It doesn't need it.
Is it water cooled?
No.
No.
The system we use doesn't need to be water cooled.
Okay.
Just air cooling. Air cooling, you get pretty close.
Yeah. How many fans you got in there? Like, there's
1, 2, 3. Just 4 case fans, and then the fans.
It looks like a mini nuclear plant. That's all I know every time I go in there.
How long have you been doing this for? White. Well, the company's been around for almost 29 years now. White had our online safety for about 13.
Yeah, but really hard for the past 8.
Yeah. How can I learn to code?
Canada Learns Coding is a really good place for those of you who are in Canada. We have other resources. So if you're a student who's interested in coding, send us a private message on IG or via email. I'd be more than happy to send you some links to some credible coding programs. And the emphasis is on credible, right? There are some programs out there that are trying to cash in on this, and they're not credible.
What's your opinion on pirating movies and shows for free? There are many sites you can use without requiring to sign up.
Illegal.
Yeah, I mean, you would be considered stealing. And
yeah. We spoke to a labor lawyer on this very issue, or not a labor lawyer, a privacy lawyer on this very issue who specializes in this, and it's illegal. Here in Canada, it's illegal to either download or even watch. If you're watching something being streamed and it's pirated, then you're actually still breaking the law, right?
Is the dark web illegal?
No, but things that you're doing on the dark web could be illegal.
Here in North America, it's not. There could be other places around the world who probably have banned access to dark web under their Authoritarian
So again,
regimes.
just for people who don't know, think of the internet like an iceberg, right? The tip is what everybody sees. It's what we call the surface web. That's where Google, Yandex, all the other search engines go. The biggest part of the internet is what you don't see below the water, is what we call the deep web. And there's some cool things, like a lot of research papers from universities are indexed on the dark web. But a smaller component of that is what we call the dark web. And the dark web is where a lot of the criminality and horrible, ugly things take place. So is it illegal to go there? No. Is it illegal to post things there? Depending upon what it is, yes.
What is your favorite app or website? Ooh.
Favorite website, www.thewhitehatter.ca.
Ha, ha,
Favorite
ha,
app, the White Hatter app.
oh.
A little bit of marketing going on there. But what's your favorite, my favorite app? Let's have a look
Is
here.
it TikTok?
Well, no.
What is your screen time usage for TikTok?
No. I mean, I'm primarily on our Facebook app, our Twitter app, our Instagram app is primarily where I'm going and doing things. And okay, TikTok is in there as well. So those would be my sites.
Yeah. I probably, of the app that I use most often on my phone recently, probably TikTok. What if something illegal is happening, but the app's privacy policy does not allow you to record the information? Ooh.
If it's illegal, then still record it.
Yeah, I think that would supersede the privacy policy.
It would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, if it's illegal, still screen capture it, even though it's a violation of the app's privacy. Screen capture it because it is illegal.
And the app probably won't find out anyways. I mean, although these apps and companies have these policies, they don't always enforce their policies. I mean, they don't, because they lose all their users.
True.
So most of the policies they don't even follow anyways. Is there an app that I know that doesn't allow to record? It's probably some.
Yeah, I think a lot of, I remember reading a lot of terms of services where they say, you're not allowed to record or copy or repost. That's very common, a lot of terms of service that I read. But again, if it's criminal in nature, I think that is the exception to the rule, right? Mm-hmm. How fast can a hacker hack you? It kind of reminds me, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? How much hacker could a hacker hack if the hacker could hack? It can happen very quickly with a push of a button, right?
It depends on the hack.
Yeah.
If it is a scammy hack where they send you a fake link, you log in with a name and password, easy as that.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a remote hack, just remotely randomly, probably going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, or if it's if it's a human hack, social engineering, that could take a while because it's a confidence ploy, right?
Yeah.
To build the confidence. However, if it's a phishing attack, it can happen very quickly because if you click a link, poof, you just
or you downloaded a pirated illegal piece of software, which turned out to be a virus. Again, that could happen very quickly.
And that's getting back to the one question about watching these pirated things. That's the problem. You go into these pirated sites, a lot of the things that you're watching, as soon as you hit download, you're downloading malware into your system as well, right? So
yeah. And those are our questions.
Woohoo!
That's going to be it for probably a couple months.
Yeah, school's out. School's out for the summer. That's a song, right?
Yeah, I was going to stop you there.
Okay.
Because copyright, YouTube.
Oh, just a little clip.
Just a little thing, yeah.
Right? Just a little clip. And it's my own voice.
Still.
All right, whatever.
YouTube.
Just a little bit. I'm using it for humor purposes.
Thanks, the MCA YouTube rules.
Yeah, using it for humor purposes. Boom, we're singing.
We could critique it.
There you go.
I think.
What did you think?
I think you could have
a little out of tune.
Yeah, out of tune. Yeah, there you go. So we'll probably get back to Q&A probably in September. Yeah. But we might do some videos or other projects coming up in the summertime.
Yeah.
So tune in for those. But with school out and
for the summer
programs coming to a slowdown,
we still got some programs booked for the summer.
We do.
Yeah, some summer camps and that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. So, anyways, see you guys next school year.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.